shooting, gunfire, explosions, murder, death, pain, horror, distress, dread, despair, panic, terror. This is a place where memories sleep and secrets don't keep. World War II was a global war that took place in 1939 up to 1945. The main antagonist of the war was Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. Even though the Nazis were the enemy, that didn't mean that all Germans were Nazis or sympathizers. Hello, my name is Ty, and welcome to Mag Reviews. I will be reviewing the book called Prisoner of Warren, and that book is written by Andreas Oertel. Warren and Tom would hang out at Warren's house together after school. One day, they find out that Warren's dad is bringing a guest from the POW, or POW, camp over to Warren's house, who lives in Fredericton, Canada. He is a German prisoner of war, and that's why Warren is worried. Is he really a German Nazi? Also, Warren knows some guys known as Rake and his goons, and they love to terrorize animals, yet they really hate Warren. Should this be another thing that Warren should be concerned about? If so, could they be stopped? Can Warren and his friends discover what this man is up to and is really a Nazi? Can they also discover what Rake and his goons are planning against them, or will Warren and his friends suffer defeat? And I think the genre of this book is mystery because of the POW, who could be a Nazi or just some German, and also the things Rake and his goons do at their weird hut. And the book is not a part of a series, but the book is not too long. It's about 174 pages long, and it is not challenging to read at all. I think it's an easy book to understand. I personally think that 6-year-olds would understand it, which I recommend is the youngest age for this book. I think that this book compares to other books such as War, Good versus Evil, and Theft. Those are written in the same and common way, because there is a bad guy and a good guy in them, which are all the same types of stories. The main character is Warren, though, who lives on a farm, and he loves running, and is very good at it. For example, Warren can keep up with his best friend Tom riding his bike to go to his house and back to his own house. Warren and Tom love to talk about World War II and the Nazis at least once a week, every week. Warren's other friend, Gwyneth, absolutely hates Rake and his goons, but loves their dog, Tinker. Speaking of Rake, Vance, and Brent, they love terrorizing animals and love to scare everyone with their rifles and be mean to people they hate. And finally, we have the POW, who is now in Fredericton, Canada. His name is Martin, who could be a German Nazi or just a prisoner of war. He is tall, presumably 6'8" to 7 feet tall, very strong and very fast. But it is unknown what he could be planning or doing when Warren is unsure who Martin is. The story is historical fiction, and it occurs in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. Fiction, but fiction in real life. And it's not a fantasy world. The story is clear and understandable, and it's easy to create a picture in the mind of, Now I will be discussing my opinions about this book. I think others would enjoy this book if they enjoy history about World War II and like to run, because these are some of the things that are mentioned or that happen in this book. I enjoyed the book because there was a lot of action in it, there were interesting parts in it, and the characters were all different in a unique way. This book made me think about it for days because of all the drama and the sprinting and in the intensity, especially the sprinting because I like running. I think the writing style was good because it was not a hard book to read. In fact, it was easy. Not super easy, but pretty easy. My favorite part of the book was the battle with Rake and his goons. All the chasing and the pursuit was unbelievable. But if I were the author, I would add a little more suspense and action to the book. There was a lot, but I personally think there wasn't quite enough, mostly because quite a few chapters were Warren practicing his running, so there needed to be a little more action, and that is more intense, like more battles. But other than that, I enjoyed the story. I think parts that are weird are when people get knocked out or injured. The way the author explains it, it sounds like a cartoon, because cartoons are very unrealistic, and things happen that can't happen in real life in cartoon shows. I would change that by explaining that he just gets hit in the head and gets knocked out, instead of saying he gets hit by something in the head and flips in the air and hits the ground. I personally think the age for this book should be for 6-year-olds all the way up to 15-year-olds, just because there is violence in it, and I think people that are age 5 or under should probably read books without violence because they might be too young for that. And to wrap this up, when I read this book, I really enjoyed it, and I would give this book a rating of 5 stars. Even the running practice part that didn't have a lot of action was still good, so I decided to give it 5 stars.
That's what I had to say about this book. I generally really liked it, and I hope you guys do too if you read this book. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.